Travis Kelce gets emotional watching Taylor Swift cry after wedding date announcement. The moon hung low in the sky over a quiet suburban neighborhood, casting an ethereal glow on the sprawling backyard of a modern mansion. A soft breeze whispered through the trees, making the leaves rustle gently. It was a moment that felt like the calm before a storm, except, this storm wasn't one of chaos. It was the kind of emotional whirlwind that would change everything for Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Travis stood at the edge of the sprawling patio, his eyes trained on Taylor as she sat on the steps leading to the back door. He had never seen her this vulnerable, not in front of anyone, certainly not in front of him. She had been nothing but grace and composure in the public eye, the queen of pop, always polished and poised. But tonight? Tonight, the veil of perfection had slipped, and Travis was caught off guard by the raw emotion she couldn't quite hide. "Taylor," he called softly, his voice breaking the silence. She didn't respond immediately, her face buried in her hands. Travis's heart ached at the sight. The woman who had captured the world's heart with her music, her smile, and her infectious energy, she was human, and in this moment, she was so much more real than she had ever allowed herself to be before. It had been a whirlwind year. Travis had never expected to find himself in this situation, sitting beside Taylor Swift in her private home, after all the attention they had garnered in the media. The headlines had been relentless since their first public appearance together, speculating about their every move, their every word, the status of their relationship. But everything changed that evening, in that very backyard. A few hours ago, they had been sitting at the dinner table, a cozy affair, just the two of them, when Taylor had received a call that had left her in shock. Her team had informed her that the press had caught wind of their secret, and now it was time to officially confirm their wedding date. It was something they had talked about in private for months, something they had dreamed about even longer, but it was still surreal for both of them. It was an intimate decision, meant to remain between them until they were ready. But the world didn't work like that. Taylor had never expected the news to break so soon, so suddenly. "Travis," she finally said, her voice choked, her shoulders trembling. I never thought it would be like this. I didn't want it to be this way." He walked over to her, sitting down on the steps beside her. His heart raced as he reached out, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. He could feel the tremble in her body, the weight of the situation pressing down on her. He had always known that being in the public eye would come with its challenges, but he never realized just how much of a toll it could take on someone like Taylor, someone who had given everything to her fans, to her music, and to the world. "You don't have to do this," he whispered, his voice soothing. "It's your life. You're allowed to feel however you need to feel." Taylor turned to him, her blue eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I just wanted it to be ours, you know?" She let out a soft, bitter laugh. "I wanted to say it when we were ready, when it was just between us. Not this circus." Travis squeezed her hand, his thumb brushing across her knuckles. "I get it. But this doesn't change how I feel about you. We're doing this together, no matter what. You don't have to face it alone." Her eyes welled with tears again, and she wiped them away hastily. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break down in front of you." Travis shook his head, his face softening. "You don't have to apologize for feeling things, Taylor. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. I'm here for you." There was a long silence, broken only by the distant chirping of crickets and the soft sound of the wind. The weight of everything, the wedding date announcement, the pressure of living in the public eye, the expectations, was finally catching up with her. And for the first time in a long time, Taylor allowed herself to let go. I always wanted my wedding to be perfect," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I imagined it would be just me and the person I love, no cameras, no reporters, just us. But now, it feels like that's all slipping away." Travis leaned in slightly, turning toward her so that their faces were mere inches apart. His heart pounded as he gazed into her eyes, his thumb brushing the back of her hand. "We'll make it perfect, I promise. We'll figure out how to make it our day, no matter what anyone else thinks. You deserve that." Taylor sniffled, the tears coming freely now, but there was a sense of relief in her voice. "Thank you, Travis. Thank you for understanding. I don't think anyone else could. Everyone else just wants to know the details, but you just see me. You see the person behind all the fame and the music." Travis took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words. The person behind the fame. That was who he had fallen in love with, the woman who sang songs that made him laugh, cry, and think. The woman who had taught him the value of vulnerability, of letting others in. He reached out, cupping her face gently in his hands. "You're more than just the music, Taylor. You're my person. And no matter how many people are watching, or how many headlines are written, you'll always be my person." For the first time that night, Taylor's lips curled into a small, grateful smile. She leaned into his touch, closing her eyes for a moment, letting the calm of the night wash over her. "Can we just take a minute?" she asked, her voice softer now, more at peace. "Can we just be here? Just us?" Travis nodded, his chest swelling with emotion. "We can take all the time we need, Tay. No rush. No cameras. No expectations. Just us." And for a while, they sat in silence, side by side, letting the weight of the world fade into the background. The date had been announced. The world was already talking. But in that quiet moment, under the starry sky, Taylor and Travis found solace in each other. They weren't just a couple to the public. They were two souls, trying to navigate their love story in a world that demanded answers, but one where, for just a while, they could simply exist together. When the night grew deeper, and the stars above seemed to shine brighter, Taylor rested her head on Travis's shoulder. He wrapped an arm around her, holding her close. The tears had stopped, but the emotion between them was palpable. This was just the beginning. The wedding date was set, the world was watching, but it was their love that would carry them through whatever came next. Travis wasn't just the football star anymore. He was her protector, her confidant, her partner in this beautiful chaos they had built. And together, they would face whatever the world threw at them, one tear, one smile, one moment at a time. Title: A Moment of Tears. Travis Kelce gets emotional watching Taylor Swift cry after wedding date announcement. It was the moment that no one had seen coming, not even the two people at the heart of it. The air in the room was thick with anticipation, and the soft hum of murmurs among the gathered crowd slowly began to die down. The stage was set for what was supposed to be another ordinary press conference. But this, as anyone who had followed the whirlwind romance between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift knew, was anything but ordinary. The couple had been through a lot in the public eye: whirlwind dating rumors, the constant media scrutiny, and the constant balancing act of their personal and professional lives. But tonight was meant to be different. Tonight, they were about to make an announcement that would change everything. Their love story, full of public and private moments, was finally about to reach a new chapter. The press conference was set in a luxurious ballroom in New York, an elegant setting that combined the glitz of the city with the cozy warmth of their relationship. The walls were adorned with delicate fairy lights, casting a soft glow on everything around. A long table stretched in front of them, and seated behind it were Travis and Taylor, their hands intertwined, looking every bit the picture of happiness and nervous anticipation. For months, speculation had swirled around the couple. Fans had dissected every possible detail of their interactions, trying to guess when the big question would come. But neither of them had given any clear answers. Until now. Tonight, they were finally ready to share the news. Travis, wearing his signature Kansas City Chiefs jersey under his tailored blazer, leaned in toward Taylor, his arm draped around her. He could feel her nervous energy, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her dress. Taylor, usually the confident, poised superstar, was a mix of emotions, excitement, joy, and something that felt almost like vulnerability. The camera lights flashed as they took their seats. For a moment, the room felt eerily quiet, everyone aware that something monumental was about to happen. Taylor's heart pounded in her chest as she looked over at Travis. His warm eyes gave her strength, and for the first time that evening, she felt calm. She knew this moment would be a significant one, not just for them, but for the fans who had been waiting for this news almost as eagerly as they had. Taylor stood up first, her signature blonde curls bouncing as she moved to the podium. The crowd grew silent. The press photographers clicked away, and the noise of their cameras clicking seemed almost muted in comparison to the stillness of the moment. "I've spent my entire life in the spotlight," Taylor began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "And one of the things that's always eluded me is how to have a love that feels real. How to keep something private when everything you do is constantly being watched. But then, I met someone who made everything feel different. Someone who made me believe that love wasn't just about fairy tales, but about trust, partnership, and unconditional support." Travis' eyes softened as he listened to her words, feeling a warmth fill his chest. His gaze never left her face, and he squeezed her hand tightly. He knew where this was headed, but hearing her say it aloud, in front of so many people, made it feel even more real. Taylor paused for a moment, her eyes misting over as she took a breath, looking at Travis with a tenderness that was almost palpable. "Travis, you've made me believe in love again. And now, it's time to take the next step, together. So, it is with the deepest joy and excitement that I get to announce something truly special." She turned to Travis, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "We've set a date. The wedding date. It's happening." The room erupted into applause, but in the midst of the celebration, Travis' focus was solely on Taylor. His heart thudded in his chest as he watched her. He knew she had worked hard to keep her emotions under control, but this was a moment that seemed bigger than both of them. The weight of it all hung in the air. The applause slowly died down, and it was then that Taylor's emotions seemed to overflow. A single tear slipped down her cheek, and another followed. She was trying to hold it together, but the release of all the pressure, the secrecy, and the weight of the announcement seemed to break through. As she stood there, her voice wavering slightly, she added, "I've never felt more at home than I do with you, Travis. And I'm so thankful."